Hello there. Welcome to another episode of The Pause. I'm your host, Laia Bove. This is an accessible and inclusive space created to invite you to take a moment and to learn to connect to your authentic and creative truth through practices like yoga, breath work, and meditation. Before we get started, I invite you to take a moment to center. Find a comfortable seat, lengthen your spine, relax your shoulders, and perhaps soften your gaze down or close your eyes. Take a deep inhalation through your nose, expanding front to back, side to side, and top to bottom. Open your mouth and let it go. Welcome to the pause. The most wonderful time of the year. No, not that one. Sant Jordi, the joy of books, and the quiet rebellion of reading in a scroll-happy world. You may think I have lost my mind, which is always a possibility, since everyone's favorite holiday, or not, is 263 days away. However, this is the most wonderful time of the year for me. Sant Jordi, International Book Day, is almost here. The last time I was in my city, Barcelona, for this celebration was a couple of decades ago, and I couldn't be more excited to get to spend it here again. For a few weeks now, authors have been releasing their latest books, and all media outlets, including radio and TV, have been advertising novels, debut authors, and special Sant Jordi editions of everyone's favorite bestsellers, gearing up for the big celebration on April 23rd. During the Sant Jordi festival in Catalonia, book sales experienced a significant surge. In 2024, for example, reports say that nearly 2 million books were sold across the region on that day, generating approximately 25.4 million euros in revenue. And some dare say books are dead. Interestingly enough, this year will be my last Sant Jordi as just a reader, because April 2026 will be my first International Book Day as a published writer. My debut novel will have been on bookshop shelves for several months, so I hope to spend Sant Jordi from booth to booth, from bookshop to bookshop, signing copies of my book and talking to lovely people. Needless to say, I'm super stoked. The Legend of Sant Jordi. If you've never heard of Sant Jordi, it's celebrated on April 23rd in Catalonia, and it is deeply connected to books, culture, and love. Legend says that once upon a time, a terrifying dragon, whom I shall call Catalan Smaug, held these peace-loving lands in fear. To keep the beast calm, the villagers sacrificed one person each day, chosen by lottery. How they came to this as the best solution is beyond me, but I'm not trying to judge here. One fatal day, the princess of the realm herself was chosen as the daily snack for Catalan Smaug, and just as she was about to be devoured, a brave knight, Sant Jordi, appeared. He rode in his white horse, epic music blaring in the background, and fought the dragon, killing it with his lance in just a few exquisite and resolute moves. I wonder why the stud didn't show up a little sooner and save a few hundred villagers, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. From Catalan Smaug's blood, a rose bush miraculously bloomed. Sant Jordi, still panting a bit from the effort, brushed his bangs away from his face and his deep blue eyes, plucked the most beautiful and fragrant red rose, and offered it to the princess, and I'm assuming she fell head over heels for him and they lived happily ever after or whatever. The tale of bravery, love, and life blooming from violence became a symbol of Catalan culture. Over time, people began to honor Sant Jordi by gifting roses. Men would give them to their beloved, echoing the dashing knight's gesture to the princess. Then, in the 20th century, as books became more accessible and literacy more widespread, the tradition evolved, becoming an exchange of roses, symbolizing love, and books, symbolizing knowledge and creativity. So on April 23rd, the main streets and squares of many Catalan towns, big and small, fill with stands selling books and roses, and you may get lucky and meet some of your favorite authors who are signing copies of their novels at the stands. Why is Sant Jordi linked to International Book Day? Well, April 23rd was chosen as International Book Day by UNESCO in 1995 precisely because of its connection to literature and Sant Jordi in Catalonia. Also, On this day in 1616, both William Shakespeare and Miguel de Cervantes died, a significant symbolic date in the literary world. Do they celebrate International Book Day where you live? Share in the comments. Let's talk books. Life-transforming ideas have always come to me through books. Bell Hooks. To kick off the most wonderful time of the year, I'm leaning into my bookish side. If there's one thing I've learned as a writer is this: to write well, you have to read a lot. And so, I read a lot. So many people say they don't have time to read, or they don't know where to start, or just haven't found a book that hooked them enough to stick with it. This is another symptom of our attention spans getting shorter and shorter and phone addiction running rampant, don't you think? Do you spend hours glued to reels or scrolling through mindless content yet find no time to read a single page of a book? No judgment. I've been there too, and I'm working hard every day at regaining my time and attention. I invite you to ask yourself, how do you want to use your energy? Sant Jordi is the perfect excuse to take agency over what you do with your time and perhaps start reading more, even if it's just a few minutes a day. There's something special about the ritual and purpose that it takes to sit down and read a book, whether you choose fiction or nonfiction. A good read slows you down, stretches your thoughts, and lingers long after you close the cover. But let's bring a little brain science, because reading a physical book is actually really good for you. Neuroscience shows that it activates more parts of the brain than reading on a screen. It engages spatial memory, which helps you remember where in the book something happened. It reduces cognitive overload because, unlike screens, books don't come with pop-ups, notifications, or glowing light. Your brain doesn't have to work overtime filtering distractions, which helps you focus better. And finally, it's linked to a greater emotional connection, especially when reading fiction. Your brain creates stronger mental models, which means deeper comprehension and empathy. If you want to, join me for a cozy productivity session with Pomodoro method for focus and creativity, and learn a technique that has truly helped me shift and be able to focus. Find the link in the show notes. So this week, I'll be talking about the books I love, what I'm currently reading, and how writing my first novel has completely changed how I read and write. I'll be sharing some bite-sized reflections on how to read more, scroll less, create more, and celebrate books and roses. Stick around, my friends. The most wonderful time of the year is just getting started. That's all from me right now. Until we meet again, pause often, breathe deeply, and be kind, especially to yourself. Much love, Laia.